Welcome back, listeners, to Smile Sessions. I'm your host, Christina Perry. In today's episode, we delve into the deeply personal and transformative journey of healing after my miscarriage. I will share my experiences with therapy, the challenges I faced in finding the right therapist, and the lessons I learned about prioritizing my own mental health. I also explore the impact of these experiences in my marriage, the struggles we faced, and the decision to seek marriage counseling. You will hear me open up about the turning points in my relationship, the importance of communication, and the courage it took to prioritize my own happiness. So let's get started. After returning to work prematurely after my miscarriage, 4 days after rather, I remember thinking that it would be in my best interest to go and talk to a therapist about my grief. I contacted my employee assistance program, who connected me with someone nearby. I wanted to start feeling better, so I was eager to begin therapy. I remember walking to this woman's home office after work. She welcomed me in and had me fill out a consent form. I handed it back to her, and I remember the look of shock on her face. The color almost instantly drained from her skin. I was a little confused, and she proceeded, "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to help you with this subject matter. This is not my area of expertise." I could see she was nervous. I instantly felt deflated. She apologized profusely and advised me to call back the EAP line and request another therapist who would be better suited to assist me. I eventually did get connected with another therapist, and I worked with her for 8 weeks. Did I see improvement right away? Absolutely not. Therapy has to be taken in baby steps. That's my opinion. There isn't a one-stop shop solution, although, believe me, I wish there was. The initial appointment for me was helpful, just talking about my experience to a professional who could provide me with the support I was looking for. And to be honest, I don't even know what I was looking for. I just know I needed to have my feelings validated and that it was important for me to do so. She comforted me when discussing the loss, and it allowed me to express my emotions. One of the drawbacks from attending therapy that is covered through your employee assistance plan is that there is a cap on how many sessions you can have. If additional sessions are required, they usually have to request approval from your employer before you can proceed. I recall using the EA program another time around when I was suffering from depression and anxiety. And the first thing the therapist asked me was, "So, how many sessions do you think we're going to need?" I was dumbfounded by that question, to be honest. I remember thinking to myself, well, let's see. A lifetime of a narcissistic mother and the trauma that ensued around her. Yep, I think we should wrap things up in about 4 sessions. Seems about right. Really? I felt like saying to the professional, "You're asking me how long this is going to take." I would later come to understand that if I wanted to obtain ongoing therapy, that would be in my best interest to find someone who I would be able to work with that would assist me in meeting my goals and my mental health needs. I'm going to shift gears slightly here and share some experiences about my marriage. I want to take this opportunity to be clear. I'm sharing these experiences from my point of view, and I'm going to do so in a respectful manner. My ex-husband and I have grown a lot since these experiences, and these stories I am sharing is to give an honest account of my perspective. Because of these situations, it has encouraged me to change my path along my healing journey. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Things did get ugly, and hurtful things were said in the heat of the moment. It's part of the grieving process. So we must remember to allow ourselves the space to experience our feelings and our emotions. When we first got married, things were great. We were newlyweds, and we went on vacation often. Now, looking back, that's probably why things weren't great. Our vacations were a way to escape reality, that we were living life like, oh, once we have this, we'll be happy. And once we move here, we'll be happier. And once I start this new job, I'll be happier, etc. We were chasing things and everything just seemed slightly out of reach. It got to the point where I had nothing to look forward to. That is a terrible feeling. It's a lonely feeling, and it's a depressing feeling. Since the miscarriage, instead of our lines of communication opening, it had actually cut us off from each other. I remember having a growing resentment towards my spouse because I attended all the family functions on his side, but for the most part, I attended all functions on my side solo. Our marriage was suffering, and in October of 2015, we both decided it was best to seek marriage counseling. I utilized the EAP program through work, and we were connected with a therapist that was convenient for both of us outside of work hours. It was so awkward in the waiting room. I just remember sitting in the hallway, and we were surrounded by these rooms, and you can kind of hear the muffling of other conversations going on around us. I was so angry. I had so much built up resentment, and I was just ready to unleash. At this point, we were married for 4 years, and this was my last-ditch effort. I had lost myself during the marriage. It was the circumstances that we dealt with that caused me to shut down. I didn't have much say when it came to major decisions. I'll give you an example. I was told, we bought our first home and signed the paperwork without even seeing it. That's not something a responsible Capricorn does, but at the time, I was young, in love, and I put all my faith into my husband's decision. Now, the 41-year-old in me is screaming how stupid that was. But again, hindsight, right? When we would tell that story, the narrative was funny, very off the wall, living life with a carefree attitude. I realize now in reflection, it was clearly a recipe for disaster. After divulging to the therapist the list of concerns I had and the goals I wanted to strive towards, then my husband shared his. She asked him point blank, "Do you think Christina will leave you if things don't improve?" And his response was, "No." She looked at me and I said, "Yes, I will." Speaking from my own emotions, I had probably checked out of that relationship 2 years prior. But I kept trying to make things work because it was something I felt like I needed to do, or at least try. I just remember hearing the priest's words on a repeat in my head. What Christ joins, man must not divide. Nothing like a little touch of religious guilt preventing me from walking away. I thought that this was the turning point. The first session was rough. I just remember sitting there thinking, we've said some pretty harsh things to each other. How are we going to come back from this? The second session went a little better, but it seemed like the counselor was more focused on a diagnosis versus the issues we had within our marriage. After a few more sessions, there was progress, hope, and for once in a long time, we were on the same page of how we planned to move forward. We had planned to sell our home and rent a condo closer to the city to be near family again in hopes of getting our finances in order. Fast forward to Christmas 2015. We were so excited because this was my nephew's first Christmas. We finally had a baby on my side that we could spoil and shower with gifts. And I just remember looking over and seeing my husband scrolling on his phone. That hurt me so much. I had always been so genuine and loving towards his family, and he couldn't even give me the same in return. It may sound small and insignificant, but the connection was broken, and we went from being husband and wife to roommates. We were already spending less and less time together. The good morning texts that he used to send me, because he often left before me, in the morning stopped. The only texts that I would get were things that I needed to get done in terms of bill payments or attending family obligations. The lack of involvement from my husband on my nephew's first Christmas was the final straw for me. I decided in that moment I was done fighting for my marriage. I loved my husband, but I loved myself more. Mentioned in my first episode, I am a big advocate of therapy. Our mental health is so important, and unloading the things that hold us back are very beneficial. I think now people are recognizing how important therapy is in order to maintain our mental well-being. The not-so-great therapy experiences taught me something very valuable, that our mental health is important, so we must take the time to research different therapists because they all specialize in different areas. If you feel after a few sessions that they may not be the right fit, it's okay to look for someone else. It's your journey. You're making the plans, so customize it in a way that will help you get to where you need to go. This episode is a testament to resilience, self-love, and the power of therapy. It's a reminder that it's okay to seek help, to insist on finding the right fit in a therapist, and to prioritize your mental well-being. Thank you for joining me today and listening to my shared experiences. And remember to lead with love on your own journeys. Until next time.